Welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage. Today we're going to be having a look at Zilliqa. This is going to be a lower time frame video. We do have our higher time frame video linked up above, so make sure that you check that out if you want more information on the higher degree counts that we are looking to follow. Okay, so let's get into the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so having a look at ZIL, for the time being, we have actually managed to protect this low here at the 0.151416 area. Now, we're talking about a couple of things within the macro video. We're talking about that possibility that this could be this is a bigger B wave, and we're still looking for that possibility of a C wave to the upside, where we're looking for this potential of a push up. Now, because we've come down as deep as we have here, this is very deep, and it would be less likely that this would be a 1-2. Now, it is possible we could actually be breaking down here, so we're going to have to keep an eye on it. But as long as we maintain above this 0.151, what we could actually still see is that potential to push to the upside towards this 1-to-1 level. We're looking at this as ABC. Now, there's a couple of ways we can count this bit of structure here, so we need to just be aware of that fact. You know, as long as we are above this line here, we can potentially look for this C wave to the upside, and there is a way of counting this as a bigger flat correction that we could actually break this, and then we could still look to reverse to the upside. It would invalidate the idea of any kind of an impulsive structure here though, so we need to be aware of that fact. Now, if we are looking at this count, we're looking at this as ABC, so still looking for the possibility of a reversal to the upside here. Now, at the moment, we don't really have enough structure here for you know, a good count here saying that this is actually looking to reverse up here. What I'd be looking for more confirmation would actually be saying that we have this is an A, a B, and then we're looking for 1-2, and then we're looking for that possibility of a direct push to the upside. But we'd only get more confidence about this by pushing back above this 0.20452 region. So if we had to push back above that, then what I'd be looking for is the potential that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we would have a base to work off of for this next move to the upside, looking at this as either ABC or alternatively as a 1-2 situation. So that would be looking for that possibility of the C wave to the upside. Now, the other way we were discussing this is that we could look at this rather as WXY, where we treat this as W, this is A, B, and C. Now, we've got some interesting levels, which I'm keeping an eye on here. Now, if we are looking at this structure to the downside, there's a couple of ways we can count this. We can count this with some extension within here. As well as that, we can also just have a look at this as a simple structure here, as just a straightforward A, B, and a C. Now, the problem with this is that if we're looking for this as a X wave here, instead of this being A, B, and then C, we'd have to then argue that this is some kind of a W and X, and this would be our Y wave. Now, if we are looking at a Y wave, we don't have... I wouldn't like to cross this 1618 here. If we cross this 1618, it becomes less likely. Now we have, like, once again, we have come down all the way down to this 854 region. And if we continue to consolidate below this level, it becomes likely we're going to see a push to the downside. It's not really the reaction so far that I'd like to see for a move that's going to reverse. So I'm just being a bit, you know, cautious that we could actually still look to push down and break these lows here. So we're going to go over that now. And what I'd be looking for within that is there's two ways that we can look at this. So we could either argue that this is A, this is B, and then we're looking for a bigger C wave to the downside, in which case we would be looking for that possibility that we could have an additional drop here. Now, there's some interesting levels within this that I'm keeping an eye on. If we are looking at this as a breakdown here, what we could actually see is a push down towards this 0.1542 region, and that would be an inverse of this B wave. So that would be a 1618 inverse of this B wave here. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this level. If we do see price actually push down here one more time, that could potentially be where we protect the low, if we are going to protect it. Alternatively, if we do look to extend to the downside, I would also be keeping an eye on this zone of this 0.139 area for a possible turning point. Now, we do have a target box down here as well, which is sitting here between this 0.1412 to this 0.116 region. Now, this target box has got a couple of key levels within it. We do have a weekly naked point of control right towards the top end of this, which will align with that idea of coming into that 2.618. Alternatively, lower down here, we do have this 0.1224 area. So, you know, there's a couple of zones within there that we could actually look to possibly find as support. Now, within this as well, if I turn on this fib retracement, we can see that we do have a 618, which is sitting here towards this 1355 as well. So I'm going to be keeping an eye on this. If we do see price push down into these levels, that could be potential targets for that structure. Now, another way that I've added to this from the last time I did the macro is, if this is rather this structure as ABC or WX and a Y up here, or ABC, you could also argue this is A, this is B, and then this is C as a diagonal pattern here, where you would be treating this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. In which case that would potentially be an A wave up here. Now, if we do see this as ABC, we've actually reached an important target here, which would be this 1-to-1, which is sitting here at the 0.155. So I'm just looking out for the idea of that possibility of a reversal. If we do look to push back down here, possibly we could see this come down a little bit deeper. But what I'd want to see here is, that I'd want to see more, a clear move to the upside, looking to take this B wave for more confidence that this move is actually completed. Otherwise, what we do have is the potential that we could just have this as a fifth wave, where we're actually looking for continuation to the downside. Now, our target box area is this lower green box, which is actually sitting here towards this 0.1852 to the 0.0797 region. So if we do see price actually continue to break down into some of these lower levels, I would be keeping an eye on this as a possible zone for our fifth wave to end. Now, if you want more information on this, watch the higher time frame video that was linked in the beginning of the video, as we go over this in a lot more detail. So if we are looking at this, we were talking about this possibility that we could have this as a 1, 2, and then we were looking for this third wave. So once we cross this zone of this 1618 here, which is sitting at this 0.1481, if we do continue to break down here, it's possible that this could actually be a third wave, in which case we'd get a fourth and a fifth. Now, I've got this 1618 mapped out here, and it's possible that this is the case where we're actually looking to have an extension here, where we would be arguing that from further back here, just like in this count where we're looking at this, what we'd be saying is that within this earlier bit, we have a 1, 2, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into here, this is fourth, and then we're actually extending out in this fifth wave. Now, if this is the case, this could actually mean that we have one more drop here. So we're going to have to keep an eye on the internals of this, where we would actually be saying that within this structure, what we have is effectively this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this would be looking at the internals of that wave. We would be saying this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're looking for this fifth wave. Now, the reason I'm not a fan of this is because this structure is getting quite big here. Now, it could be something like a triangle, in which case we could still see that push to the downside. But what I want to see here is, for as long as we remain below this 0.183, I will be primarily looking for that possibility of price to start to break down in a 5-wave move. However, if we just get a move back to the downside here and we don't actually manage to take this low of this 0.154, what we'd be looking for is that possibility that we could still see, a bigger corrective move playing out here, where we could argue this is something like a WXY for an A, we get ABC down, and then we see another move up here. But this would be making this actually get quite large in comparison to this. Or alternatively, we have A, B, C, D, and E, and then we look to break down in that way. So now, if that's the case, the problem with this is we actually have a wick higher on this count here. So you'd have to actually say that this is A like this, would get B, C, D, and E. Now, this would be valid if you stay within the range of this 1818 and this lower range here of this 1619. If we fail to stay within these ranges here, that idea of the triangle is invalidated. But what I want to see here more than anything is whether we actually manage to push back above this 1832. If we start to break back above this convincingly and we actually move up here and take out this zone of this 0204, this could actually indicate that we have a completed move here, and that potentially within this structure, what we could actually have is that instead of this being a 5-wave move, we could just have this as A, B, and C. And now, if this is the case, that could look to actually mark this as a end of the corrective structure. But we'd have to be cautious, because until we actually break back above this 02464, I'd just be very cautious, of the fact that we could see this continuation still looking to play out, where we get a bigger retracement up here, and then we have this as 1, 2, this becomes 1, 2, and then we look to break down in a bigger way. So we need to just be careful of that idea. Okay, so what we can see here is on the daily, the central CPR line is actually sitting here towards this 17429. Now, we've actually come up into this, we've rejected down, and we've already come down towards this R2 line here at this 1678. If we continue to break down, I'd be looking for potential interaction with this R3 line at this 1646, and the R4 line here at this 1614. If we do look to break down, these could be interesting levels to keep an eye on. As well as that, if we do actually look to reverse to the upside and get back above this 1742, what we could actually see is price be gravitated towards this S1 line here at this 1774, the S2 at this 1806, the S3 at this 1839, and the S4 up here at this 1871 level. So I'm keeping an eye on these to see whether we can actually manage to hold some of these, and then we actually look to start to push back to the upside here. Now this would tie into the idea that this is continuing, but really until we actually start to break up in a bigger way, I wouldn't have a lot of confidence in this. Now if I come back out here and we go into the weekly CPR lines, what we can see is that we have actually broken below these central lines here, but now this candle is actually coming back into it. So it's going to be very interesting to see whether this candle actually ends up closing back within these CPR lines. If we do continue to hold this level, the possibility is then there that we could actually see price come back to the upside. Now the S1 line is at a very interesting level because this is actually our 50% level, looking at this as a fourth wave. Now if we do see price actually come back up into this level, what we could then see is that possibility of continuation to downside if this is not a completed move here and we are still within this fourth, looking for one more push up before that push to the downside. If however we start to break up higher, we have the S2 line at this 1925 and the S3 line up here towards this 2032. So it's going to be interesting to see how this actually plays out. If we actually do start to just break down here, what we do have is this R1 line sitting here at this 1631. We have the R2 line sitting down here towards this 1526, and we also have this R3 line sitting down here towards this 1433. So this would be interesting if we are looking at that possibility of having a breakdown here where we're looking for this fifth wave. As we can see, this R3 line lies within the structure here. Now if we are looking at the monthly CPR lines, what we can see is that price has actually been below these central points for a long time here. Now this would be our invalidation area, and looking at this count, as long as we are remaining below this zone of this 1822, the possibility then becomes that we are going to see price actually be gravitated to the downside here to actually retest this R3 line. Now it's always possible, you know, like I said, we could actually look to break back to the upside, in which case this R1 line is here at this 2056 area, and that would be a possible target we could actually look for. Though like I said, you know, really as long as we remain in this fourth wave area, I am going to be looking a little bit more towards a downside here. But in the same text, we haven't had anything impulsive down yet, so it's making me think that, you know, we could actually have something else going on here. It's becoming a little bit suspicious. Now throughout the month here, if we do actually see price break back to the upside here, I would be very interested to see if we move back up towards this 2527 level and this 2365 level, looking between these CPR points here. If we did see price come back up here, I would be looking out for that possibility of a rejection of these levels. And as well as that, if we do move up, we have the S1 here, which is sitting towards this 2684, the S2 at this 3073, and the S3 up here at this 3308 level. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash the like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It's free to join. Everyone have a great day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.